Let me give y'all an intro real quick. Let me give y'all this intro. Oh yeah, what's it gonna be? Time to make a move. Let's find out and see. Make a move, make a move. Y'all, I'm a mess. I was like, let me just play around and give y'all the theme song. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's free. Y'all, this episode was a bit much, but it was definitely interesting. I had a good kiki and a good laugh, but as you all know, guys, thank you so much for coming back to my channel and hearing another recap. And as always, I'm here to discuss Ready to Love, Make a Move, episode 10, titled Mama Knows Best. All right, y'all, let's get into it. So we start this episode off with Zadia. You know, she sat down with Cameron last episode, you know, trying to decipher if she's going to make a move or not. So that's kind of where we left off last week in the last episode. So Zadia is telling Cameron that she has decided to keep him around. I mean, are we shocked? No. So at this point, y'all, I'm just done. You know, you can't say nothing to Zadia, and you'll see why as I go more in depth into the episode. And she's just so stuck on Cameron. I'm just like, girl, why didn't you give that guy Richard a chance? Like, y'all know how I feel about Mr. Richard. So anyway, she's just gonna have to learn for herself. So after she tells him, you know, she's deciding to keep him around, they kiss and they share a hug. And so next we jump on over to Charisse and Nick talking inside of the house. So, you know, she tells him she thinks he's a great guy and he's very ambitious, but she says that they're in two different places in their lives currently. So she lets him know that she's going to move in a different direction. So I was kind of, you know what? I was kind of on the fence. I wasn't sure if she was going to keep him or not because, you know, Maurice came back into the picture and, you know, she always liked him from jump. The problem was the communication. And I do, you know, kind of agree with her in regards to Nick. I do think they're in two different places in their lives. And I don't really think he's ready to kind of want to settle down and start a family with someone. I just don't really see that. They definitely had physical attraction, but I don't think it was enough. So, yeah. So anyway, you know, he looked kind of shocked when she said that because I guess he just thought he had it in the bag. And so, but he does let her know that he respects it. So they hug it out, and, you know, Charisse says that she is happy that she chose Maurice because, you know, he makes her feel like he wants to get to know her more. So she tells the ladies and guys that she went on a date with Maurice. She lets the girls know and that they're a match. So next, Tamika comes outside where everybody is sitting and she tells the guys, you know, it's time to leave. The ladies have to get their beauty rest and, you know, it's time to go. So the guys leave and Tamika tells the ladies about this week's dates. So she says, you know, they're past the point of blind dates now and she's not going to match them anymore with new men. But it's time to focus on the future, you know, with the guy that they've chosen. So she says that this week they're going to meet up with their keepers, friends, and family. So the women are like, oh gosh, like, you know, that's a bit much, but basically we're down to the wire. So we're in the 10th episode. So it's time to meet these guys, family and friends. So Tamika says it'll give them a great sense of their worlds and how they might fit in their keepers' worlds. And, you know, they need to decide this before they make a decision about who they want to come at their final mixer. And so I'm guessing the final mixer is either they're going to make a permanent choice to be with their keepers and like ride off into the sunset, or they'll probably let them go forever and, you know, basically just moving on. So that's what I'm assuming what the final mixer is. So anyway, in a new scene, we see the ladies outside at some type of place, like some type of outside I don't know what it was, some place they were at. And so the ladies are together, sitting down, and they're having drinks. And they toast to finding out the truth about their keepers because, they're about to bring their family and friends. So the first person to arrive with his peoples is Maurice. So we find out that he brought his cousin Shamika and his daughter Markia. So everybody greets Maurice and, his daughter and cousin. And so Cherie says that she feels flattered that, he's bringing family members, especially his daughter, to meet her. So they're sitting down with the ladies and, the ladies are talking to Maurice's daughter. And so they're asking her questions and we find out that she's 25 years old. She lives in Houston and she's a speech pathologist. So once they find out, Ashley's like, oh, hey, girl, that's what I am, too. So they were just having a good time. It was really nice to see that, the ladies embracing, Maurice's family.
I know that's right.
So Charisse takes Maurice and his family away from the ladies so that she can talk to them privately. So next, we see Cameron arrive, and he brings his best friend, Mario, who he says is like a brother to him. So, of course, they greet the ladies as well. And so Zadia, takes Cameron and his friend, somewhere else in the vicinity so that they could talk privately as well. So after that, Don arrives, and he brings two of his friends with him. And I think it's because he said that he doesn't have family in town. So the closest people to him are like his two friends. And we learn that their names are Gian and Lakeisha. So, they sit down, they greet Ashley, and Vernisha is still there too because Tabari hasn't arrived yet. So Lakeisha says, it's nice to meet you, Ashley, and we've heard so much about you. So Ashley's just smiling from ear to ear, just loving it. And so Lakeisha turns to Vernisha and asks, well, who are you? Y'all gonna see why I'm laughing, where this gonna go, right? So Vernisha replies and tells her, I'm Vernisha and, Ashley's my friend. So she's like, oh, okay, I guess, basically the friends are here to scope, the person out. So Don's other friend, Gian, he asked Ashley, what was the thing that made you pick Donald the first time? So Ashley says, it was his beautiful eyes, his smile, the way he sat there, he was confident, and, I saw him. So his friend Lakeisha turns to Ashley and she says, yeah, I heard about the elimination and I was worried about him with that. And, what was your reasoning for doing that? So if you guys remember episodes back when she, first got with Don, how she eliminated him. Remember the whole bowling alley situation? So yeah, I think that's what she's talking about. So Ashley kind of gets a little bit loud. I guess she kind of felt, I don't know, maybe offended, about her asking that question. So she responds saying, well, it was the lack of communication and it was 2 days with nothing. And then now all of a sudden you show up to the house like everything's okay when I didn't hear from you. So Lakeisha says, that was interesting to me because I was literally like with him, like watching him, and he was fine. And so Ashley says, well, I didn't hear anything. Like I didn't get a text, what's up or nothing. So Lakeisha says, well, Donald has so much to give, and I feel like it got to be a certain kind of woman to be deserving of him. So her saying all this is like basically setting Ashley off. So Lakeisha says, honestly, I don't want him in a committed relationship with the calling and picking up unless she is the one for him. So I'm kind of like, okay, Lakeisha, I think you're kind of taking it too far. What you should be is asking Ashley pertinent questions, besides, what you do and all that. But what are you looking for? What are the things that you see in my friend that you could potentially see yourself in a relationship, with this person? What are some of the things you like to do? My friend likes to do this and that. Do you guys think you guys are compatible? Stuff like that. Not this whole bringing up, well, basically, why are you calling him, blowing his phone up? Why you want him to blow your phone up? Y'all not even committed yet. I just kind of thought that was too much. She should have been asking real pertinent questions, not stuff like this. And anyway, he ain't your man. So I just think she was being a little bit overbearing. So, her and Ashley, they start getting kind of loud with each other. And Ashley says, don't tell me you like me and then you don't text me for 8 or 9 hours. Like, what is that? So she's basically telling Lakeisha, well, the reason why that happened is because you sitting up here telling me you like me, but then I don't hear from you. So like, no. So in Don's confessional, he says, he doesn't understand why they're fighting and he doesn't want to be in the middle of it. And so at this point, Don is not diffusing the situation. He's just letting them talk, and they're both getting louder and louder. And you know how Ashley can get. I think when Ashley gets offended or she feels some type of way, she's going to go off on you. And it seems like Don's friend wasn't letting up, and she's kind of like, I'm going to go toe to toe with you. I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to speak my mind. So having those two personalities is just not going to mix. So Lakeisha says, Donald is laid back and he has his own sense of style in itself. And so Ashley responds and says, well, I got a whole wardrobe for him. So Lakeisha says, well, that's what I'm worried about. And I want you to love him, the way that he is. So Ashley says, I do, but I'm also about aesthetics. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I don't know if you guys remembered, it might have been an episode or two ago when Ashley was talking about those loafers, his shoes, what he wears, and she don't like that. So I guess maybe Don is going back telling Lakeisha these things because, how would she know that? So anyway, I'm just laughing at this whole thing because it was funny the way they were going back and forth, but they both were kind of being loud and people were looking at them. And it's kind of rude to the other ladies' guests because, they don't know what environment they're walking to. And then when they see two women kind of arguing, it's kind of a reflection on the other ladies, I don't know. So anyway, they start going back and forth with each other. And Lakeisha says, you're supposed to speak positivity to him and not speaking down on him. And Ashley says, I'm not. So clearly these two are arguing. And as I said, everybody was looking at them because they were being all loud. So again, Donald is just sitting there, not saying anything, not saying like, hey, ladies, let's bring it on back. I know you guys have strong opinions, but, let's just drop that conversation for now. So in Ashley's confessional, she's like, hello, Earth to Donald. I'm sitting here being attacked.
I am sitting on top of flames right now. I am in the fiery furnace. And ain't nobody getting me out. Is anybody in there? Earth to Donald. I'm in there.
Yo, she said, Earth to Donald, I'm sitting here being attacked. Yo, I was rolling when she said that because you guys should have seen her on the screen. I was rolling. And I agreed with her because my thing is, this is somebody you're dating. You're supposed to have her back and you're kind of letting your friend kind of jump on her. And I think you should kind of be a united front, even if you're not together. But clearly you like her. You're introducing her to your closest friends and family. So you need to say something. So that's why Ashley was saying that. So Lakeisha says, well, Don is a prize too. And Ashley responds saying, well, he doesn't get a choice. I get that. That's all in your life. But right now it's about me. And so in Don's confessional, he says, no one wants to hear you're less important and you shouldn't be, and what you should be wearing, what you should be wearing, all of that. So he's like, nobody wants to hear that. So Lakeisha says he does have a choice. And Ashley says, no, sis, I gave him his choice and he chose, and that is why he's still here. So I'm like, oh my gosh, both of y'all's egos is just hilarious. And then also too, Don's other friend that was there, he couldn't even get a word in. He's just sitting there watching these two go at it back and forth. I just feel like no progress was being made. So anyway, Lakeisha asks Don, she's like, well, how do you feel about this? And he says, I really like Ashley, and I think she mistakes my nonchalantness for like me, not caring and stuff. I don't know. I remember the nonchalantness, but I'm trying to think of his exact words, but basically I'm paraphrasing. So, he says he wants to see this work. So again, Ashley and Lakeisha are still going at it, and Don starts talking. So at this point, Ashley is upset, and you can tell she was upset with Don too, because, again, he wasn't really coming to her defense, in my opinion. So, saved by the bell, y'all. Tabari arrives, and so I guess the ladies kind of pipe it down. So, he comes on over with his two guests, which we learn are his mother, Lydia, and his brother, Mike. So they get Vernisha, they're greeting each other, and of course, Vernisha, Tabari, and his peoples, they go on over to another section so that they can speak privately as well. So we jump on over to Cameron and Zadia talking, and Zadia asks Cameron's best friend Mario, what does he like about Cameron? So he says he thinks he is one of the most disciplined people he knows, and he's really good at seeing a vision and making a plan and sticking to the scripts no matter what. So then Zadia says, but do you think that it's to his detriment? And so he replies saying, no, because if the people that surrounds him, keeps him on track, it's not a detriment to him. So Cameron says, a lot of people don't have a job that sets them on fire. It doesn't fire them up. And with my job, it fires me up. And I just do what I do. And so Zadia asks Mario, she says, have you guys discussed what are Cam's long-term plans when it comes to a relationship? And do you think he's even ready for one? So Mario says, I think he's ready and he wants a relationship, but it's just making time and making sure someone is a good fit for him. Again, y'all, in my opinion, I just think it's excuses, and I'm going to say it again and again and again. A man has autonomy over his time. If he really wants to be with you, then he'll be with you. So you having to keep asking questions about, well, can he make time for a relationship? Do you think? Clearly, you already got your answers, Zadia. It's just not you. He will make time for the woman he really, really wants to be with. I've seen it over and over again. I've heard countless stories over and over again. Y'all know how I feel about this with Zadia. So anyway, so then Zadia asked him, do you think I'm a good fit? And see, that's another thing. Like, I don't like that she's asking these questions, because if you have to ask, you already know. Anyway, so she asked Cameron's best friend that, and of course, I was annoyed by it. But anyway, I believe his, friend said, yeah, like you would be a good fit for him. So he said, yeah, like I would say so. And so my thing is, like, let's be real, Zadia. You really think that his friend is going to tell you, no, I don't think you'll be a good fit for Cameron. I mean, unless he's really bold like that. But no, he's always going to have his homeboys back. Even if Cameron told him things about you, it's like, I don't really know. He's not going to tell you that. He's always going to have his homeboys back. So he's not going to really tell you.
I said what I said. Okay.
Anyway, so next we see Vernisha and Tabari sitting together with his family again, which is his mom and his brother. And Tabari says, it was a big step for him to introduce her to his mother. So in Vernisha's confessional, she says she feels honored that Tabari, introduced her to his mom. So Vernisha asks his mom and brother, what type of person is Tabari and how would they describe him? So his mother replies saying, when she gave him his name, it was to be a leader and that he would lead his people and give beyond. And he has a heart and he works hard. So Vernisha says that, that's all good. I'm glad to hear that about him. But when it comes to us, we kind of have like a communication issue. So his mom says, well, it's not an issue. It's just a concern. And, he is a man first of all. And a lot of them don't just jump into it and just kind of understand, he's working. And if it's not something he's accustomed to doing, just work with him. I mean, for me, I get that. I totally get that. You do have to work with people. People have habits that they have to break. I totally get that. But in some ways, no, because we're all adults and we make time for what and who we want to make time for. So anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. So Vernisha says, she lets them know that she owns several businesses and that she has kids in college. And, she can see herself in their family. So it was nice to see them, all talk and not have drama and bonding. So then we jump on over to see Charisse sitting down with Maurice and his family, which is his cousin and his daughter. So Charisse says she loved the way that he talked about his kids. And she asked his daughter, what can you tell me about your dad that I need to know? So his daughter replies saying, he's very kind and doesn't mind going out of his way for people, and he's very caring. So then his cousin, Shamika, says, he's definitely a leader for the family. And so we find out, Charisse lets us know that her dad's name is Maurice. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. So we find out Charisse's dad's name is Maurice, and she says that Maurice, her guy, kind of reminds her of Maurice, her dad. So I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Like they remind her of one another. So then Charisse asks his daughter, why do you think he's single? And she says, he's looking for something that's not easy to find. And I think it takes a special woman. So I think that's why he's single. So Charisse says, she admires him and she likes the fact that he likes strong women. He's not intimidated, by a strong woman, which she is, and she really likes that. So Charisse, asks his daughter, do you think he's ready to love? And his daughter says, I think he's definitely ready to love. So, in Charisse's confessional, she says she just loves his family. She definitely can see herself fitting in to their family dynamics. And, she really had a good time. So as everyone is getting to know each other, out of nowhere, this band appears, like this music band. So we see them playing instruments and they're just walking around everybody, dancing. And so I think in New Orleans it's called a line or something. And so basically everybody gets up, starts dancing in the line with the band. And, it was cute to see that. And so after that happens, we jump on over to a new scene. So it's the next day and we see Tabari and Vernisha walking into a rooftop restaurant. And they start talking, and she says that meeting his mother made her feel, it made her like him a lot more. So he's just happy when she says that, y'all, and he's just smiling. So then he says to her, I think things are going in the right direction. And Vernisha says, her element that she loves being in is being home with her kids, and not everything is about work. So we learned that Vernisha's oldest daughter's dad had passed away, and his mother had passed away a few years ago as well from cancer. And also Vernisha lost a best friend of hers about 10 years ago. So she just lets him know that she's lost a lot of people, and these are some of the people that, I've lost. So, he's very sympathetic and empathetic too. And he says, we'll make sure to communicate, make sure I'm going to stay on my grind with that. So back at the house, we see Zadia talking to Charisse, and they're just sitting down talking. And Zadia says, what do you think about the whole situation with Ashley? So they're talking about, what happened the other day with Don and his best friend and stuff. So Sharice says, he should have known the way Ashley is and should have never brought another girl. So Zadia says, well, why? And so Sharice says, because girls can be catty. And Zadia says, well, I have a different perspective on it. So Sharice says, well, if it was me, I would want to know, have y'all dated before? Have y'all had sex? Have y'all ever kissed? And so Zadia says, well, it would be a bold move for someone to bring someone that they have been intimate with. And I'm like, Zadia, trust me, these people out here do not care. They will do that. I know that personally. So you think people would not do that because it would be a very bold move, but trust and believe the stories I've heard and stuff, they would do that. Anyway, so Sharice tells her about the season she was on with LJ, and y'all know LJ from Sharice's season in Miami, and then he had recently just came down to help Sharice, figure out what guy is right for him. So yeah, she says on her season, LJ's ex came on the show, and one of the contestants asked his ex, when was the last time she seen him? And I'm sorry, she did ask, well, when was the last time y'all had sex? And his ex said last month. So that's why Sharice was letting Zadia know, no, people are bold and they will do that. So Zadia says, have you ever dated LJ? And so Sharice says, no, we dated on the show, but we're just friends. So Zadia says, well, I saw y'all kiss on the way out. And Sharice replies saying, well, it was just a friend pack. It was nothing. So Zadia says, well, I won't be kissing my friend's child. And immediately Sharice's face lit up. She was mad, she was livid. So Zadia starts laughing at her. And Sharice says, stop it. Don't go there. She wasn't playing. She didn't think it was funny or anything like that. So Sharice is so mad, and Zadia is like, well, why are you upset right now? And Sharice says, because people try to ruin your reputation and just talk about people kissing. So she's like, Zadia, that's not cool. And so Zadia says, you're angry. And so Sharice is like, I'm not angry, and you just showed me how you feel about me with that BS. So Zadia says, I just asked you a question, and you said what you said. So Sharice is like, stop telling my personal business, and you're miserable and mean. I mean, I don't agree with her with that. I don't think Zadia is miserable and mean. Now, if you want to know my opinion, I'm like, Sharice, why are you getting so mad? I mean, she was kind of playing with you or whatever, and I don't know why you took it to the extreme. So I'm like, because anybody who would get mad like that, so furious, if it was just a friend kiss, don't act like that, in my opinion. Anyway, so back to the scene. So then Sharice says, you're in competition with everybody and you can be mean at times. The way you treated Camille when she came to see you, you're not nice to anybody. So Zadia is still kind of laughing, but kind of in shock that she even brought up Camille. So Zadia is like, you don't know what me and Camille have going on. And Sharice says, well, you don't know what me and LJ have going on, and mind your mother business. And I'm like, that was just totally uncalled for, Sharice. You didn't have to curse at her. You could have just simply like, hey, Zadia, I didn't think that was funny. Can you not say that? And I get it because it was brought on camera and you didn't want nobody to know about that kiss. Because, again, I don't know why you're getting so upset about it. If it was just a friend kiss, be like, girl, me and him are just friends. Ain't nothing happened over here. I was like, I don't know why you trying to make that up. And I would have been laughing about it and moved on. But to get so irate over it, it's because you didn't want your business out, like you said, and it was brought on camera and you just didn't like that. Because I don't understand how somebody would get that upset if nothing happened. And that was not right for you to be cursing at Zadia, because she didn't curse at you. So Zadia says, everybody saw you, honey. In Zadia's confessional, she says she saw Sharice and LJ kiss in the mouth. So then Sharice says it was not a romantic kiss. And Zadia says, well, it wasn't a friendly kiss. And she knows that they did more than that. So I'm like, oh Lord, now it really comes out. So Zadia is saying, nah, it was more than a friendly kiss. And Sharice said they did a peck on the lips. But Zadia said, honey, it was more than a kiss. And she says that they did more than that. So it's kind of making sense why Sharice is so mad, because Zadia brought it to light and nobody knew about it. Us as the viewers didn't know. And she did not want that out. So, anyway, so Zadia tells her, you know, if you want to kiss your friends, then you want to kiss your friends. Just be okay with that. Then out of nowhere, Sharice says, well, if you effed Cam, then say you effed Cam. And so Zadia is looking at her like, wait, what?
Shots fired! Shots fired!
So I know Zadia wasn't expecting her to say that. So y'all, we learned in Sharice's confessional, she says, you know, obviously Zadia and Cam had sex. And she said that Zadia has been going out every night with him. And she could have sworn that she heard Zadia say she had sex with him and that he has a big you know what. So I'm like, oh, now it all makes sense as to why Zadia keeps him around and why she's not trying to fall back on him, even though he's clearly trying to fall back on her. He got what he wanted, girl, if that's true. Child, now it came out. Allegedly, I'm saying. So, you know, after that whole thing, you know, Sharice walks away from Zadia. And so Zadia says, you know, why are you worrying about my private? You know, worry about your own. So that gave me my answer right there, because Zadia never denied it. And why would you say, well, why are you worrying about, you know, my private? And so I'm like, she never denied it, because anybody who didn't have sex with someone, they'd be like, I didn't have sex with him. Like, what are you talking about, girl? She didn't say that. She was just like, okay. And like, why are you worrying about me? Worry about you. So that kind of, for me, gave me my answer, but I'm still going to say allegedly, because of course, Zadia didn't come out and say, yeah, we did do that. So next, in a new scene, we see Sharice and Maurice walking and holding hands outside, and we learn that they're going to a nail bar to get pedicures. So they get there and they're just talking, and he says that his family likes her, and Sharice says she likes them too. So they start talking about traveling together, and he lets her know that he was in the army at one point in his life, and he actually fought in the Gulf War. So, of course, they're chilling in the nail bar, they're getting their pedicures, and she's just liking him more and more, and they have a good time. So next, we see Zadia and Cameron, they're out holding hands, and they end up going to a restaurant. So Cameron says that Mario, you know, said that he likes her and that she's chill, and it was a good experience meeting her. So then Zadia says, you know, she asked him, well, how do you feel about where we're at?
Well, let me tell you, I got to be like a thief in the night in this house every time I want to get some privacy to do my work.
He's trying to get away, but she just won't let it go. And now we kind of know why. And her asking him this question is just really annoying me. It doesn't take all day to recognize sunshine. Shout out to Relationship Restored for the Girls podcast, Cece. She said that's what her husband said to her. It doesn't take all day to recognize sunshine from a man's perspective. So I was like, oh, I like that. So anyway, so Cameron says, you know, I feel good about us and I'm rooting for us, but I'm also rooting for you. So here we come with the stuff. So Zadia says, well, what do you mean by that? And so he says, you know, I want you to be happy and be patient. I'm like, Zadia, this man is trying to tell you, girl, run away from me. I don't want to be with you. He's basically trying to push you into the arms of another man. That's why he's saying that. What are you talking about? What do you mean by that? You know darn well what he means by that. You just don't want to accept it and hear it. You better run to the hills with this man. So, so she says, do you want me to be patient? Because it feels like you're saying run for the hills, Zadia. And he says, well, how can I get somebody based off of a short amount of time? I'm basing it off of a month, 2 months, and it's still not enough time for me to really be like, I'm all in and I'm all head over heels type deal. And so, y'all, at this point, Cameron's just giving her lip service. He's just giving her excuse after excuse, talking about, oh, it's too short of a time to know if I really want to go in with you, basically make you my woman. It's too short of a time if I even want to explore this. No, it's not. There's people who've met each other in 24 hours and knew right away that was their spouse. There's people who've met in less than a month or two and they knew right away, yeah, this is the person I'm supposed to be with for the rest of my life. Or that maybe they haven't even gotten to that part, but it's just somebody I want to be with. I want to continue to date and I want to be with them. Don't give me this mess about, oh, it's a short amount of time, a month or two, and I still don't know what I want. He knows exactly what he wants. Anyway, that's my little rant. She's just sitting here wasting her time. So anyway, in a new scene, we see Ashley sitting outside at a restaurant, and it's at night too. And so we learn she's meeting up with Don for dinner. So Don arrives and he brings her this gift. It's some type of like light thing type gift. I'm not too sure. So anyway, he asks her how is she feeling, and she replies saying, well, let's talk about your lady friend and what's the story with y'all. So he says, we're just platonic friends. We're just friends. So she said, how did you think the encounter went with us? And he's like, well, there was no way to predict how it would go. So Ashley says, we're not talking about predictions. Tell me what you felt like. So I'm going to be honest. I felt like Ashley was being a little bit too, how can I say this? Because I don't want to say that word. I feel like Ashley was being a little bit forceful in trying to get something out of him. Just kind of be chill about it. Be like, hey, Don, what'd you think about, the meeting between me and your friends? Like, I just wanted to get your opinion on it. Kind of gauge it in. When you come off to somebody as if you're mad, they're not going to take to that very well. You're not going to get the answer that you're looking for. So, after she asked him that, she says, you talk, something about Don said about aggression or something. So she says, you talk about my aggression, but everything that you described of me was right there at the table with her. So at this point, Don is looking down. He's very annoyed and aggravated with her. Just kind of the way she's talking to him. It's not what she's saying, it's how she's saying it. So, and let's be real, Ashley, let's be real, y'all. Ashley be doing the most at times. We all know this. So, he says, I'm sorry, I'm trying to calm down right now because everything you just said, pointing your fingers in my face and putting your hands in my face, I'm not really with that. And he says, when we have our disagreements, snarky comments come out of your mouth and that takes me out mentally. And why is that always your initial response when adversity is at hand? So she says, it's not my initial response. It's after I wait hours to speak to someone who claims they want to be with me. And Ashley wasn't like putting her fingers in his face. She was just talking with her hands, and she has really long nails. So maybe he was just feeling some type of way, but she wasn't like, she wasn't like that. She was just talking with her hands and stuff. So I don't know. And also too, she has really long nails, so I could see why that can kind of be intimidating, but she wasn't doing it how he says. So anyway, he says, why are you raising your voice? And she says, I can't have any inflection without you thinking I'm being a bee. And I'm passionate when I talk. So he says, what energy are you giving me, like DMX?
Absolutely not. Not me. Certainly not I.
And I was like, now see, Don, you shouldn't have said that. Because basically you're trying to say that she's being super aggressive like a man. And y'all know how DMX is in his music, like rah, rah, rah. And you're trying to say that's how Ashley's coming off. And you shouldn't have even said that. That was uncalled for. And you know she's gonna go off when you said that. So after he says that, Ashley is clearly upset and she's like, you just said that I'm like DMX. Like, what is that about? So they're kind of arguing and she just gets up. She's so upset and she walks away. And I think she's telling the producers, like, get me out of here. I want to leave. And scene. So yeah, y'all, that was the end of the episode. It was a pretty good episode. I will give this episode, I will give it an 8.5. You know, I'm slowly getting up there. I don't think I can give it a 9 though. So that's why I'm gonna say an 8.5. It was good. The whole thing with Ashley, that was a hot mess. I do feel like, you know, his friend shouldn't have come so hard at her. I'm like, girl, you didn't even ask the important questions. That's what I would have been trying to figure out. Ashley, if I was her, I would have handled that situation differently with Don's friend and when they met up for dinner. We'll see how that works out. When we saw scenes for the upcoming episode, he was in it with her, so I don't think she broke up with him right then and there. Zadia and Cameron, y'all already know how I feel about it. I don't really need to say anymore. Zadia refuses to let this man go, and he is telling you episode after episode, you're not the person for me. I don't want to be with you. I just can't say it any clearer. Vernisha and Tabari, I'm kind of shocked. I didn't think she liked him as much, but now I see in this episode, no, Vernisha really likes him. So we'll see where their connection goes. And then as for Charisse and Maurice, we'll see where they're going. They seem to be heading in a good direction. He's talking more, so who knows, child, we'll see. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another recap of Ready to Love, Make a Move. Thank you so much, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can be informed whenever I upload a new video. Also, too, guys, please comment below. Tell me your thoughts on this week's episode. What do you guys think about the whole argument between Don's friend and Ashley? Do you think, you know, Don and Ashley will make it? Do you think Zadia will ever leave Cameron? Is she gonna make a move? I hope she does. But just tell me your thoughts on this week's episode. And as always, guys, I want to say a prayer over you. So here it goes. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace and protection. This is my prayer over your life. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, guys. I will see you in the next recap. And yeah, bye.